right, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. We're joined by Northwestern head coach Chris Collins. We'll start with an opening statement and then take questions. Coach?
Well, we knew what we were going to have tonight with, an Ohio State team that was going to play with a back against the wall, desperation type of attitude. I mean, obviously, we feel their record is not indicative of what they have. And, I mean, the first time that we played these guys on January 2nd, they just had their way with us, and with physicality and toughness and, it was probably our worst loss of the year in terms of someone just beating us down from start to finish. So we knew what we were going to be up against. Really proud of our guys. I thought, especially down the stretch there, the last 8 minutes, we hit some timely shots. Their late clock, Brooks Barnheiser was fantastic. He hit a couple huge threes for us, and then obviously Chase hit a big three in the corner there to put us up 7. We didn't finish the game like I wanted to. Had a couple careless turnovers, missed some free throws, but we got enough stops to be able to finish the deal and finish the game. And obviously, anytime you can win on the road in the Big Ten, it's a big deal. And even if you win at home, it's a big deal. This is a league like no other. And I think someone told me this is only the second Northwestern team in 48 years that has come in here and won. So obviously, it's been a difficult task for Northwestern teams, and really proud of my guys for coming in here and getting the job done.
Questions?
Chris, they had a lead 47-45 about 10 minutes ago. You guys answered and then pulled away from that point. What did you see from your team in those moments that allowed you on the road, like you said, a place you haven't had much success historically, to take the game from there?
Well, fortunately with this group, we've had some good results on the road. We went into Breslin Center and won a big game at Michigan State. We won at Assembly Hall in Indiana. The two of the very toughest venues to play in where we had to win close games. And I think anytime you can have success in those tight situations, you draw upon that. And that's something that we struggled with in the last couple years. It was well documented. Our ability to close games was not very good. We talked about the toughness that it takes. We talked about it all off season, that we're going to be in close games. And when you're in close games, you got to be at your very best at both ends. And I thought we executed well during that stretch. Thought we made the extra pass. We didn't panic and take tough rush shots. We drew multiple defenders, found the open guy, and even when we didn't hit, I thought we were getting some good looks. And then we were having a really hard time with Suing. Obviously, he's a tough cover. He's so strong, especially when he can get downhill with those drives, and he can shoot with both hands, and he was drawing fouls and getting going. But, to be able to do the job on Bryce, who to me is one of the top offensive players in this league, to hold him to one basket, obviously was a difference in the game as well.
So some of those things that you talk about there, being able to withstand things and coming together and making all those tough plays to close out a game down the stretch. How much of that is stuff that you can coach, and how much of that is just like innately guys understanding what it takes to close out games and win games?
I think you definitely talk about it, and you definitely work on those situations, press breaks, using clock, late game execution, defense when you with a lead, how you got to defend. And we weren't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's just a testament to our guys. The things in the huddle, the talk was just so positive. They were just very determined. They had a look in their eye that they were going to get the job done, even though it wasn't maybe the prettiest out there. And so at the end of the day, you can talk through things and you can practice, but it doesn't simulate the game. And it takes guys that have courage and toughness and togetherness, especially in these road venues.
You mentioned Brooks. What allowed him to have, I think he set a career high in points, was significantly better from three-point range these most season. What allowed him to get off like he did tonight?
Well, he's just been playing better and better each game. Brooks is someone that when we recruited him, we thought he could be this kind of guy. He's an Indiana kid. His dad is a renowned high school coach in the state of Indiana. He scored, he's one of the all-time leading scorers in the state, so he can put the ball in the basket. He came in last year with a broken foot, and it took him about half the season to kind of get back healthy. And then it was very hard for him to kind of crack into the rotation. And I give him a lot of credit because in today's day and age, maybe a lot of guys would have jumped ship on that. And he and I said, hey man, you're in the right spot. You're going to be great here. This is where you're supposed to be. You're healthy now. Let's have a great off season. Let's come into next year and let's start being that guy. And, you know, for a lot of intents and purposes, it's kind of his freshman year because he didn't play much last year. So for him to play in these venues, to play against these teams and start to have the kind of success, because we need guys to take pressure off our guards. You know, Boo and Chase, there's a lot on their plate every night, you know, and they've been fantastic. But we need those guys around them to continue to get better and continue to alleviate some of the pressure because teams are trying to take those guys away.
You've been around this game with a pedigree all coaches would envy with your dad and under Coach K. Can you scout a team and see a team that's confident and a team that's not? And I wonder what you see when you look scouting Ohio State the first time compared to scouting them this time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously when you lose, we've been through it. I mean, I've been in Northwestern where we've lost 8, 9, 10 games in a row. And it's a difficult thing in this league. And really there's no let up in this conference. You know, like when you're not playing well or you can't get the job done, then you got somebody else coming in 3 days. And certainly when we played these guys in early January, you know, the confidence, you know, the you know, just how hard they played, how tough they played. And I thought they played very hard tonight. But, you know, when you go through losing streaks, it's not easy. I get it, trust me. I've been there, and you want so badly as a coach to kind of get your guys over the hump. And I knew that they were gonna, I mean, there's a lot of character in that locker room. I love Chris Holtman and what I have always admired him as a coach, the way he carries himself, the way his teams play. And I knew coming into tonight, this was gonna be a tough game. And, you know, fortunately we were able to get the win. But, you know, there's no doubt in my mind, there's not a lot of teams in these last 7 games that are going to want to play these guys because they're young kids. I mean, Thornton's getting better. Obviously, you know what you have in Sensabaugh and with Key and Sewing, you know, those 2 older guys are guys that have been through a lot of wars and can really get the job done.
What you mentioned, you want to get them over the hump when you're in the middle of a losing streak. They need to win to believe they can. So how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I've been there. I understand what they're going through. You know, we had, I think, in the COVID year, we won our first 3 and then lost 13 in a row. You know, and it's not easy for coaches. It's not easy for players to then come back the next day. Like when you never, like people don't understand. Maybe they do, but I think a lot of people don't understand the commitment that these players put into this. You know, the nutrition aspect, the weight training, the practices, the film study, the extra shooting and extra work with coaches, the travel, the games. And when you're not rewarded with some joy, it can be very hard, you know, and I know from experience. And you just got to draw on what you got in that locker room, and you got to keep fighting. I know when I can't speak for anybody else. I can only speak for myself. When I've been in those situations, I was always told as a kid, you got 2 choices. You can tap out or you can keep fighting. And, you know, my feeling is these guys I saw tonight, they're going to keep fighting. And there's no question in my mind they're going to win some games down the stretch. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.